Okay, so looking at this problem, number 7 here, um, what we want to be able to do, marker, when they want us to prove that 4 is congruent to 8. So we've got angle 4 here, and we've got to get to angle 8. So when you've got these transversals, okay, when you've got these situations, when you know that these are parallel, and they tell you that they're parallel, that's when our certain rules come in that we talked about, like the F angle, the C angle, the Z angles, okay, F angles, C angles, Z angles. That's where we're talking about the corresponding. The C angles are same side interior, and the Z angles are alternate interior. So this is what we talked about when we had the certain congruences. So what's happening, I'll kind of draw on the problem for a sec. When you find Z angles, it literally makes a Z. You're talking about the two angles kind of at the turning point of that Z. Those are going to be congruent. Z angles are always congruent. Okay, you've got those angles at the inside of the Z. And it goes the other way too. If you were to have a backward Z, these alternate interiors are always going to be congruent. Okay, so that's one of the proofs that we had. The C angles, the same side interior, that's making a C. Those are these two. Okay, those aren't congruent, but they always add up to 180. So those are going to be supplementary. Okay, they equal 180. So if you know one of those, you know the other one is going to be the rest of the values up to 180. And then the F angles, there's only one specific time that it looks like an F, and that's right here. And that's talking about these two, where you've got 2 and 6. They're at the inside angles of those Fs. Those are your corresponding angles, and those are always congruent as well. So what corresponding means is that they're in the same exact spot. When you have a transversal like this, these two groups of angles are all the exact same. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 is all in the exact same spot as the 5, 6, 7, 8. And since we've got transversals, since these are parallel lines, since those are parallel lines, these right here place directly on top of the same exact angles in 1, 2, 3, 4. If we were to lay it on top of each other, 5, 6, 7, and 8 would fill in exactly where 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. So that being said, what we're looking at here, 4 to 8, those are sitting in the exact same spot. Those are corresponding angles. Since we know that corresponding angles are congruent, we can say right away that those are congruent. So you're going to send this thing to proof. You're going to say that A is parallel to B, and it's given, like you have there. Then you hit validate. Then in this sense, or in this situation, you don't have any more steps between your given and your finishing point. You can go directly into this. You can now say that angle 4 is congruent to angle 8, and the reason would be something to do with corresponding angles. I don't really know exactly how they word that in their drop-down option, but that'd be the reason, and then you're done. So for number 7, that's all you're doing. It's just that those two statements, the given, and then you can go right into saying that 4 is congruent to 8 by corresponding angles. So you want to keep in mind all those things that we have proven or talked about using in proofs, like the 3 at the top, and those come in the transversal situations. So the other one, this one, number 8, writing did not stay on my board. Weird. Okay, so we've got the F's, the C's, and the Z's. This one now, use the information given to prove that X is parallel to Z. Okay. This one, we have not done the proofs yet where it says, I shouldn't say, we haven't looked at an exact example yet where we do kind of the inverse and proving that things are parallel. But I would imagine it would go something like this. You're given the information to prove that X is parallel to Z. So we know that X is parallel to Y. That's given. We know that 2 is congruent to 8. That's also given. So your two givens can go down right away. So we know that X and Y are parallel, those two. And then we know that 2 is congruent to 8, and that's going to be these two. Okay, now this is where it's going to come in handy. So we know that those two are going to be congruent. Okay, so here's where this is going to happen. You're going to want to find some way to relate this set of angles to these two angles. So right away, what this looks like to me, what can we say is congruent to 2? The easiest thing to say that is congruent to 2 is going to be angle 6, because we already know about vertical angles. Okay? When you have a vertical angle situation, let's say this one is like 120, the angle across from it is always going to be the exact same. Those are vertical angles. So I would say angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, and they're vertical angles. So then, since we know that 2 is congruent to both 6 and 8, then these two have to be congruent to each other. Okay? That's like if A equals B, and I know that A also equals C, then B and C have to be the same because they're both equal to the same thing. Okay? So then you can say that angle 6 is congruent to angle 8, and that would be, I believe, the transitive theory. Transitive theorem. I think that would be one of your drop-down options. And then I'm pretty sure, and you'll have to let me know if this is incorrect because I don't have the drop-downs to check it. I'm pretty sure you can go right ahead then and say that X is parallel to Z. Let me think. Just to be safe here, if that doesn't work, I think you will then be able to say X is parallel to Z, and it would be, I don't know the exact reason they have in the drop-down, but it'd be something like the inverse or converse of parallel or congruent. Something like that. I don't know exactly what their options are for that, but it'll be something along those lines. So you can either say that right now, or you may have to prove that angle 8 down here is congruent to something up here on X. And what I would do there, so now I know 6 and 8 are congruent, I would then say 4 and 6 are congruent, and that's because of the Z angles or alternate interior. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 8 by alternate interior. Then you can say, okay, since 8 is to 6 and 6 is to, oops, I meant to say angle 6 here. That's supposed to say angle 6. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 6 by alternate interior. Then you can say So 6 is congruent to 4, 6 is also congruent to 8, so that means 8 has to be to 4. So angle 4 is congruent to angle 8 by transitive. And then you can say this part. So this part either fits in right here, or you have to say these two extra things, and then it will fit at the end. So for number 8, just try that. If you try once or twice with the two things I just gave you, you can just skip it because we have not gone over examples of this inverse theory. Where you've only gone over things where we know things are parallel. We haven't talked about having to prove things parallel. So if one of those two lists of steps doesn't work, just forget about it. Don't worry about doing number 8 then. But number 7 should be pretty easy, or I should say pretty short. It should just be those 2 steps, and you should be done with number 8. So, or number 7. So I hope this helps you out. Proofs are tricky. Don't be discouraged that proofs are giving you some problems right now. We're just in the beginning stages of proofs. We're going to kind of be going away from proofs for a little bit now, and then we'll be back into them with triangles in the next couple sections. And proofs will start to make a little bit more sense because we're going to be trying to prove more direct things. So if you have any more questions, please let me know. We can still talk tomorrow on, we can go into a breakout room and we can go through some questions there if you want in class. So just let me know. I hope this video helps. At least get this assignment done for you. And then while I'm looking, let me just look at your test situation just so you can see if you have to do anything there. Yeah, no, your tests are all good. You've got B's or C's on all of them. So, okay. So other than that, just let me know if you need any more help. We can go over stuff tomorrow in class then if you would like. And good luck.